It's the most diverse and exciting motorsport on the planet. And it doesn't matter if you've got $1 million vehicle or built it in your shed. There's over 10 classes of vehicles, but only one winner. This is off-road racing. Off-road racing is one of the most exciting forms of motorsport on the planet, and the racetracks vary greatly from mud, sand and rocks, farming tracks to full-blown desert racing. Excitingly, the range of vehicles that compete vary in cost, meaning that there are vehicles to suit potential competitors with all kinds of budget. We're going to take a walk through the Motorsport Australia off-road class system and talk a little bit about each class of vehicle. This video is going to be split into two parts. The first will be the tin tops, and the next video will feature the buggies and side-by-side classes. We will start with the four-wheel drive classes, and there are two of them: Production and Extreme four-wheel drive, formerly Class 7 and Class 8. Production four-wheel drive is the least modified class in off-road racing. The vehicles essentially remain in the stock format with the safety gear added to make them compliant. There are limited modifications for performance, and most production four-wheel drives will typically only have bracing and gusseting throughout the car, and a change of shocks and coils to more racing-based products. With these limited modifications, this is a popular class to get started in off-road racing on a budget. One of the best things about this class is that any time you can pile on the modifications and move up a class to extreme four-wheel drive. There is a massive variety of vehicles in production four-wheel drive class: Pajero, Patrol, Land Cruiser, Hilux, Grand Cherokee. The options for potential vehicles are endless, and each have their own strengths and weaknesses. This means that across the season, a particular vehicle may have an advantage at one event, but the tables can very easily be turned at the next event. Race-ready production four-wheel drives can vary in price from under $10,000 to over $30,000 depending on the base vehicle and its history. The extreme four-wheel drive class has predominantly been the domain of four-wheel drives which have been heavily modified in the suspension and engine department. V8 conversions are common, but there is a new wave of extreme four-wheel drive coming, and that is the full space frame chassis four-wheel drive trophy truck. This trend for four-wheel drive trophy trucks has kicked off in America, and with some being built and imported into Australia already, this class is one which is definitely going to go under a revolution in coming years. Extreme four-wheel drives, due to the variety and type of vehicle, again can cost as little as $15,000 race ready to hundreds of thousands of dollars for a four-wheel drive trophy truck. With the unpredictable nature of off-road racing, a big dollar car doesn't always mean success, as races can be won and lost on reliability, not just speed. Keeping with the tin tops, we move on to performance two-wheel drive, which used to be called Class 5. This class is for modified two-wheel drive vehicles, however there are some fairly tight restrictions, the major one being the chassis. The full chassis must remain, however suspension modifications, engine and gearbox are almost totally free, meaning that the vehicles in this class vary greatly from lightly modified to not being too far off matching the specifications of an extreme two-wheel drive. As with most other classes, the price of performance two-wheel drive varies greatly, and you can pick up a very cost-effective Class 5 on a budget as a first race car, or jump off the deep end on a full-spec build with big suspension and horsepower. Extreme two-wheel drive is without doubt one of the most exciting classes. This class was previously named Class 4 and is the home of the trophy truck. The rules are fairly simple. The vehicle must be a two-wheel drive, have an engine that is under 6 litres if naturally aspirated, or 3.5 litres for a forced induction engine, and substantially resemble a production vehicle. This is a class where the top end of the sport really start to throw their weight around, with some vehicles costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. I think to understand what these beasts are about best, we'll turn up the engine noise on some raw trophy truck footage. For another perspective on just how awesome an extreme two-wheel drive is, we ride on board with Harley Uren in his extreme two-wheel drive Pro 2 truck. So that is a wrap on the tin top classes of off-road racing in Australia. Stay tuned for our next video on the buggies and side-by-sides, and don't forget to subscribe and leave a like for more videos on all things off-road racing.